Okay, so we are streaming live, Mark and Adam, on Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We want to leave our friends and family out there as well. As people are coming in, I'm just going to give a quick introduction and tell people what we're going to do here today. It is my pleasure to have Adam Smolka from Dell Technologies with us. Adam is the Senior Director of Apex as a Service, and he's going to tell us about the new introductions that they made just a few weeks ago at Dell Technologies World, and tell us why this new technology is really exciting for the marketplace. Mark Greenlaw from Cirrus Data, who's our Vice President of Market Strategy, is going to talk a little bit about why Dell is such an important partner for Cirrus Data and what we bring to the table to help folks get on to their new Dell storage fast, seamless. So with that, Adam, as we still have people coming in here, but if you want to jump in and start talking, sir, the floor is yours. So I'll turn it over to you.
Outstanding. Well, Jocelyn, thank you so much for the introduction. And Mark, it's so great to see you again. And I'll share with everybody watching here, I am so excited about two things today. Number one, I'm extremely excited to share with you all the latest and greatest from Dell Technologies and what we're doing with our Apex portfolio of multi-cloud solutions. And I'm also so incredibly excited about the partnership between Dell and Cirrus Data to take the things that I'm going to share with you today and make it real and give you the easy button to go and implement these solutions in your business, in your organization on demand. So Jocelyn, without further ado, let me jump in here to the Dell Technologies Apex message. So I think that the best place to start this conversation is always through the lens of what organizations are asking for. What is it that organizations are looking to solve for? Well, number one, and far and away, the most common piece of feedback that I get from customers that I speak with every single day is that we have got to find a way to simplify this multi-cloud world that we live in. The debate's over, public, private, this cloud versus that cloud. The answer is all of the clouds. Many organizations are leveraging multiple different types of clouds, both on-prem and in the public cloud. And we have to find a way to simplify and to break down the silos and barriers between those different clouds. Number two, organizations are asking, we have to be able to deliver this cloud-like experience anywhere. If I'm running certain applications or data sets on-prem, I can't do it in the legacy old sort of way of running on-prem infrastructure. I need a cloud-like experience. Number three, organizations are challenged with the sheer variety, the speed at which data is growing. And we've all heard the comment that data is the new oil for many organizations. This is where the value is, but how do we manage that data and how do we monetize it? How do we move faster? Critical for organizations that I speak with. And then finally, look, a lot of folks are saying, look, the old days of huge CapEx expenditures are over. We cannot approach IT from that perspective. We need to be more agile. We need to move faster. We need to shift to OpEx. We need to be able to deliver services to the organization as a service on demand. So these four priorities that we hear from customers every single day, this is what has led Dell to unveil what we call the idea of multi-cloud by design. Instead of sort of stumbling into multi-cloud and cobbling together something over time, what Dell would advocate is going into a multi-cloud environment intentionally with a strategy to deliver the multi-cloud outcomes that the business actually require. That's the imperative that allows you to move faster and deliver on the four bullets that I just referenced on the first slide. So this Apex portfolio is all about unlocking the promise of multi-cloud by design. You can see that we've got partnerships here with all of the big hyperscalers, all of the big cloud software stacks. Whether you are looking to leverage the power of AWS or GCP or Azure, whether you are a Red Hat OpenShift shop or a VMware shop, the Dell Technologies Apex portfolio allows you to unlock the agility and the abilities of multi-cloud in a simplified, easy way. And when you multiply that by the functionality that Cirrus brings to the table. Listen, this is a winning combination. This is the blueprint to deliver the business outcomes you're looking for. Now, when we think about this Apex portfolio and the challenges that organizations are looking to solve, there's really three very specific lanes. As organizations navigate their multi-cloud journey, there's three places where we add a tremendous amount of value. First, I'm going to focus on the left here. We call this the idea of enriching what you are already doing with the public cloud. Let's say over the past handful of years, you've moved certain applications or certain data sets to the public cloud, and they're running there and you're generally happy, but perhaps you're looking to make it even better. Maybe you need more performance. Maybe you need more security, more data resiliency, or maybe you just need to lower, we hear this all the time, lower the cost of running in the public cloud. Well, Dell Technologies can enrich that public cloud experience because we've now unveiled the ability to take Dell's industry-leading, #1 in market share, enterprise-class storage software, and you can now deploy it natively into the public cloud of your choice. So this is now turning on the enterprise-class data services that Dell is far and away the leader in when it comes to on-prem storage. We're now taking that value, that efficiency, and we're putting it into the public cloud to give an even better experience to you as an organization. Let me give you a couple of maybe specific examples. Let's say that you're running block storage in AWS or maybe Azure, the two on the left here. By deploying Apex block storage into the public cloud of your choice, you're going to unlock a level of performance that you cannot achieve natively in the public cloud. You've got linear scale, multi-availability, durability for your application. You've got more nines of availability when you're running Apex block storage in the public cloud. Best of all, we're now turning on these enterprise class data services that maybe sometimes we take for granted on-prem in the data center. Thin provisioning, deduplication, compression. We're now turning those data services on in the public cloud, which dramatically lowers your cost profile. So again, if you're running in the public cloud, you like the public cloud, but you want to go faster, you want more resiliency, and you want to lower your cost to serve, Apex block storage in the public cloud is an absolute slam dunk. Now in the middle, you'll see we've also got Apex file storage services available today in AWS. Similar to block storage, what we're doing here is we're turning on enterprise class data services, reducing your cost profile. But in the case of file, we're also giving you massive scale, up to a petabyte of capacity in a single namespace, along with 4x the performance of the next closest competitor that's running cloud native file services. And then finally, on the right-hand side of the screen, listen, Dell Technologies has years of leadership delivering data protection solutions natively in the public cloud, AWS, Azure, GCP. We have as a company over 17 exabytes of data protected in the public cloud today across over 1,700 organizations. This is an area of leadership for Dell Technology, and we're expanding this portfolio now to offer these other storage services, block, file, and data protection. So if you're in the public cloud and you're looking to enrich, make that experience even better, this is a really compelling set of offers. Now, the second lane where we add a tremendous amount of value to organizations navigating this multi-cloud world is the idea of connecting. Connect what you're doing in the public cloud to what you're doing on-prem. Bring that public cloud experience into your data center, but do it with a common set of software tools. Let's say perhaps you're in the public cloud today running a Red Hat OpenShift environment. We now are introducing our Apex cloud platforms, which are integrated on-prem infrastructure stacks. This is Dell Compute with software-defined storage, integrated with Dell's proprietary automated management and orchestration stack, You don't have to spend your time managing boxes, patching, upgrading, lifecycle services. All of that is automated and delivered to you in these cloud platform building blocks. But best of all, these cloud platform building blocks are fully vertically integrated and co-engineered with the cloud software providers you see on the screen here. You can deliver a Red Hat OpenShift on-prem cloud platform. You can deliver Azure Arc on-prem cloud platform, or with decades of experience partnering together in co-engineering, we can deliver VMware flavored on-prem cloud platforms. So what does this let you do? This allows you to control the on-prem portion of your infrastructure with the same software stack, in the example of Red Hat OpenShift, as what you're using in the public cloud. Simplify how you approach bringing hybrid cloud to life. Give your developers and your lines of business a common software interface and a simplified stack to manage the entire stack of infrastructure along with the public cloud. This is a game changer for a lot of organizations that are trying to figure out the idea of connecting public cloud to on-prem. And then finally, Jocelyn, maybe the third area that I would highlight here, we call the idea of recalibration. So maybe over the past several years, maybe you've deployed applications or data into the public cloud, and you found that while it's good, it's great for some workloads, perhaps there's other workloads that now would be better suited to live in a cloud operating model, but on-prem. Perhaps you're recalibrating a little bit what your cloud strategy is. Now, what we've seen is, look, the options in the past have not been great. On the left, we had sort of the legacy approach to on-prem. CapEx, we were over-provisioning. We would buy 3 to 5 years of capacity and performance, and we'd only use a tiny fraction of that investment on day one, and we would hope, we'd cross our fingers that over 3 or 5 years we would consume it all. The reality is we never did. We were wasting money with over-provisioning. And we've all experienced in the legacy on-prem data center world the time to value and the time it takes to deploy infrastructure that we've bought. Look, it's not unusual for an organization to order some on-prem infrastructure from a Dell Technologies or another provider, and then have 3, 6, 9 months until it's deployed and ready to accept workloads. And then the financial rigidity of a CapEx procurement model is really gone out of favor with many CFOs. They're looking for agility. Now, on the right-hand side, you see the public cloud, our other option in sort of the heritage approach to the data center. Now, public cloud is great for some workloads, but again, there are certain aspects of public cloud that are not perfect for all workloads. Security, control, compliance. What about regulations in the industry that I'm in? Performance concerns about the public cloud. And certainly, I hear this in almost every conversation, the cost profile of running in the public cloud can be really challenging for organizations. So what if there was a better way? What if you didn't have to choose between the old way of doing things on-prem and a full 100% public cloud approach? Dell Technologies would say, listen, cloud is not a location. It is not a thing that you point to. Cloud is an experience. It is an operating model. And delivering Apex as a service infrastructure in your data center gives you the best of both worlds. You get the control, the security that you require, you get the performance that you need, and you get a predictable cost model that is tremendously less expensive than pure native public cloud. But on the flip side, you also get all the benefits that you love about the public cloud, simplification and agility and being able to move fast. Now, when we talk about Apex in the context of an on-prem operating model, these are the key tenets. We're talking about a massively simplified experience. We're talking about modern consumption. Think of it like a utility bill, your electric bill. You simply pay for what you are using when you use it. We can deliver in any location. We've talked about some of our solutions running natively in the public cloud. We can deploy these solutions in your own data center. We can deploy these solutions into a co-location of your choice. These are elastic resources that are available on demand as the business requires them. And we deliver these Apex solutions here, not in 3 or 6 or 9 months, but within just 28 days from when you sign up for the service. Everything is designed for OpEx treatment. It's all owned by Dell. It's managed by Dell in most cases. You simply subscribe to the service that you need and run the workload the way that you need to. Now, Where the rubber meets the road, in many cases, are the dollars and cents. So Adam, hey, as a service, it sounds great, but is my CFO going to be interested in this? So let me illustrate for you here quickly exactly what this looks like from a total cost of ownership standpoint. What you're looking at here on the screen is how we traditionally have procured IT infrastructure. The dotted white line are the big capital expenses that we have historically made every maybe 3 years or maybe 5 years. Every time the tech refresh comes around, you're writing another big PO and making another big capital expenditure. But if you look at the light blue sort of graph, that's the resources that we are actually consuming at any given point in time. And what you can see is we are almost always, 100% of the time, consuming less than what we've actually paid for in a traditional legacy CapEx model. We buy a big mountain of gear and we only are actually using some smaller percent of it. That means everything between the light blue and the dotted white are wasted dollars. This is money that was spent by the organization that is not doing anything to serve the business outcomes, the technology outcomes that you're looking for. But when we flip this model into an as-a-service on-prem cloud operating model, the dynamic changes completely. Now, instead of the big capital expenditures, the white dotted line that you see here, you're simply paying for what you're using when you use it. Over-provisioning goes out the window. Over-provisioning is a thing of the past. We're not guessing what the organization might need in 3 to 5 years. You pay for what you use when you use it. So everything that was over-provisioned waste in the old CapEx model now turns green. This becomes real dollars saved that the organization can reinvest elsewhere or save against the balance sheet. This financial dynamic, these cost savings, are the #1 driver of why as a service has taken over IT by storm. This is why Dell Technologies has moved aggressively into this business, and we're delivering more as a service solutions than any other technology provider on the planet. Now, you can extend that financial analysis perhaps one step further. Here is an example of 6 different global organizations who compared and contrasted the Apex as a service infrastructure model from Dell compared to a pure play public cloud deployment. And you can see across many different types of verticals and customer segments that the savings profile, the cost profile here of delivering an as a service model with Apex compared to pure play public cloud delivers massive cost savings, 30, 40, 50, 80% cost savings against pure play public cloud. Now, the punchline of this is not at all public cloud bad. Public cloud absolutely is the right landing place for certain workloads and certain applications. Other workloads and applications are better served with better performance, better resiliency, and a better cost profile delivered in an on-prem cloud operating model. And even better, with Apex, we can connect those two together, your on-prem and your public cloud, with a single pane of glass, single software layer to manage everything. Now, you can see the portfolio here of what Dell can deliver with the Apex portfolio of solutions is unrivaled in the industry. This is the most comprehensive portfolio of as-a-service solutions. Whether you're looking to deliver storage or data protection or compute or hyperconverged infrastructure, whether you're looking to have this infrastructure living in your data center or in co-location, whether you're looking to deliver these features and functionality natively into the public cloud of your choice, we can deliver all of these outcomes within a single portfolio of Apex here at Dell Technologies. We've got the expertise to help you build the strategy that's right for your business. Every organization has different business, technical, and financial outcomes that they need to achieve. We can help you map each of those quadrants into the right solutions in the Apex portfolio. We can help you implement, drive faster time to value, and help you tune and scale and fine tune what this cloud strategy looks like for your organization. Now, even better, on top of everything that I've just shared with you here, is when you take this infrastructure and this as a service powerful portfolio and you marry it up with the services and the expertise from Cirrus to make this a one-stop turnkey experience for your organization. So Mark, I'd love to hand it over to you to talk a little bit about how we take a great story and we make it even better and we make it real for our customers with what Cirrus brings to the table.
Well,
so
thank
I certainly
you, Adam.
appreciate the time. Mark, let me hand it over to you.
Thank you very much, Adam. That was a fantastic presentation, and it's one where it's compelling to talk about how Apex can help customers drive a business advantage. You talked about TCO. It doesn't really go into the business advantages of transitioning to a cloud operating model. The speed of change, the speed of optimization is a key advantage. And what we do at Cirrus, just so you understand, is really we talk about simplifying, accelerating data migration. But data migration is really probably a legacy word. And what we really should be talking about is data mobility. Because when you look at this model of multi-cloud, there are advantages of running it on-prem today. But today is a stagnant thing. We're not going to look at investments or multi-cloud kind of environments as a static framework. This is a dynamic framework, and we expect cloud vendors will be competitive. And perhaps today I run in Microsoft Azure, then I run on-prem with Apex, and then I switch to Amazon because I'm optimizing SLA, or I'm optimizing cost profile, or whatever to take advantage of it. And what you really need from a solution provider is that mobility, and we're all about data mobility, and what we talk about at Cirrus is really eliminating the friction that goes between changing from one platform to another from a block data perspective. Cirrus Data Solutions as a company has been around since 2011. We were founded by two brothers who have been in the storage industry with Falcon Store and Cheyenne Software, Wayne and Wei Lam. We are a global company with our headquarters in America. We are partnered with all the cloud vendors, certainly with Dell. Dell's been a longstanding partner of ours, and we're happy to be here today talking about that. We've moved over an exabyte of data with over 4,000 customers. One of the interesting attributes, and it doesn't get talked about that much, is the carbon footprint you get by going to an Apex-like infrastructure, right? You've got thin dedupe compression. Well, that means the amount of media behind that is going to be optimized, so you're reducing your carbon footprint. And in this green kind of world, this is something that is certainly valuable to all that are out there. The other thing that we bring with Cirrus is significantly differentiated capabilities. Our technology itself is patented. We have patents across our data interception, our data movement, and our cutover technology, and we're expanding that portfolio, and Dell is no exception to dealing with Cirrus from a patented perspective. Why do we talk about data mobility as a problem? Well, if you talk to Gartner, they say 50% of data migrations go over budget or over time or both. And scheduling time can be significantly challenging. We have to do driver installs, OS upgrades, SAN zoning changes, just to ready the infrastructure to get a migration going. And then I have all the disruption from the data migration itself. So we want to get around that. We also we know that there are lots of tools out there. Certainly, having done 4,000 migrations, we know we've been compared to literally everything out there, but there are different tools for different OSs, different arrays, different MPIO code. lots of different tools. The challenge for the project manager, I've got to coordinate the right resource for the right array on the right host at the right day, and move that kind of around that infrastructure. And what you'd really like is a single tool to do all of that, and that's what we are. We're agnostic from that perspective. And multi-vendor is something that we're aligned with Dell, but we work with all of the storage vendors that are out there. And so from the perspective that you can count on from a block infrastructure, if you have it, we can move it. We also address the entire portfolio, like Apex, as a comprehensive offering from on-prem to the cloud. We have a comprehensive offer as well. So if you are recalibrating your infrastructure, you want to go from an on-prem infrastructure into Apex on-prem, we would consider that part of our tech refresh kind of portfolio. We can move you from any of your existing block infrastructure, including any of the Dell portfolio, any block infrastructure from any of the competitors, in a transparent and automated fashion with a single platform to do that. You don't have multiple tools. We also have the ability of helping you do this in a data center relocation or consolidation. So I'm moving from Texas over to California. I want to change to a Apex on-prem kind of environment. I can certainly do that off of a platform in Texas onto a Apex platform in California. When we do this in a block on IP infrastructure platform that data reduces in a way that allows us to go from source to destination 4 to 6 times faster than traditional tools. And it's fully encrypted, so I don't need a VPN. And the final one, of course, is cloud migration. And cloud migration is shown here as an on-prem to cloud, but we also do cloud to cloud. We do inter-tier in the cloud. And the fundamental tenet of data mobility and data migration is it's any to any. We can do on-prem migrations, we can do data center relocations, we can do cloud migrations, and we have a single tool that does this for you. So when we look at Cirrus Migrate Cloud, this is one of my favorite charts. It's cloud storage modernization, and Apex is part of that cloud storage modernization. You look at how long the public cloud providers have been in the storage business, and it's going on 7 years. And quite frankly, they may have lowered their price a little bit. They've gone from 10 cents a gigabyte month down to 5. But they haven't changed the fundamental tenets of what you get with that environment. And so cloud storage modernization is about bringing new capabilities to your cloud environment that optimize cost and also optimize what you can do with your storage. Pointer-based snapshots are something fundamental that we use on-prem that's basically not available in the cloud. And the automation that can come from these snapshots and the speed with which we can do things in pointer-based snapshots is fundamentally very, very powerful. So let's look at migration use cases. First, we look at on-prem to the cloud, and of course we can look at your on-prem instance, discover the volumes that you have, and migrate you up to AWS or Azure, or land directly on what's called now Apex Block in the cloud or PowerFlex, and we can do this in a automated and seamless fashion. The other thing that we can do, and if you wanted to repatriate, we can take you from managed disk or EBS down to PowerFlex in the data center. As Adam pointed out, there's a ground to cloud movement, and there's also cloud to ground, and we support both of those because the direction doesn't matter. When we move from your data center up to your cloud, or from your cloud back to your data center, we do this in this data reduced format. We also enable this to be done while you're using your data. And this can be critically important. The sense that we're moving large amounts of data, there really aren't windows available for disruption, right? This has to be done while we're using data. And one of the technologies we have is something called intelligent quality of service. And what intelligent quality of service does is it monitors the underlying performance of your source environment, whether that's in the cloud or on-prem. I monitor the source environment, and if that gets busy above a tunable threshold, we back off so that we don't impact production. To put that in perspective, we did a 11 petabyte data migration for a banking customer across 8 data centers in the United States, all during the production day, no impact whatsoever. So we can move your data while you're using it, and we can get you properly landed on an Apex infrastructure, whether that be in the data center or in the cloud. If you're already in the cloud, one of the things that is very, very interesting is we can move to a new tier called Apex Block in the Cloud. So I'm running on standard hard drives. I want to run on a Apex environment there because, quite frankly, I can save a lot of money doing this. We'll talk about some customer use cases, but in this particular special use case of going between tiers, I can move you from any part of the cloud tier into an Apex tier while you're running using that same intelligent quality of service with no impact to production, transition over to PowerFlex with zero downtime. The only thing that I would have to do on my Windows host is do a rescan or a reboot to free up the existing capacity that I have in AWS or Azure, and do that at any point in time. That is not required to actually start using your PowerFlex. Another use case, let's say I'm running on Microsoft Azure and I want to get over to AWS Apex. I certainly can do that. And again, the same kind of capabilities, intelligent quality of service, data reduction in flight, and encryption occur. But when the data reduction is being done from Azure, we do it before the meter, which means my egress fees are down by about an order of magnitude, and that can affect your TCO in a very positive way. We also do local migrations, and we'll be talking through that as a potential for getting to Apex on-prem. So let's look at this from a migration perspective. We're in a data center. So what do? Well, we actually have taken our code and we split it in half. We have our management plane in a software as a service portal. You log into the portal, you create a project that will enable you to see your volumes on-prem. We point our portal at my data center instance. It self-installs, it discovers the underlying block infrastructure. I point it at my cloud instance. It sees the PowerFlex that is there. It creates the volumes for you. You don't have to know how to create volumes in Apex in the cloud. We'll create them in the right size for the environment that you have. And we pair them off, source and destination, and then we do a Cirrus Migrate Cloud session. Again, we do this data reduced. We've compared ourselves to AWS Cloud Endure or Microsoft Azure Migrate. We're 4 to 6 times faster because of this data reduction. This is a very significant advantage. You know, if you're moving 100 terabytes, the difference is between 9 months and a couple of weeks. And so the reality that we can get there while we're using our data in a far shorter time is critically important. And of course, your data is encrypted, so it's safe. Once we do this data migration and we get the volumes essentially in tracking changes kind of mode, I have the ability to do something called C motion. And what C motion does is a little bit of magic. It synchronizes the on-prem dirty pages with the cloud environment and flips the switch. So my application is literally running on-prem against a PowerFlex instance in the cloud. When I do that, I create a snapshot up in my PowerFlex instance, revert back on-prem, and keep the ones synchronizing. Now I have a mountable image in the cloud. That mountable image can be used for testing and validation to make sure my application comes up correctly, I have the right patches, I can look at TCP IP addresses, so forth and so on. Essentially, I'm getting confidence that when I go to the cloud, I can go there successfully. Once we get to that level of confidence that we're ready to go, it's now time to flip the switch from my data center instance to my cloud instance. So the first thing I do is I turn on C motion, so it flushes the dirty pages up into my cloud instance. I shut down my on-prem instance, and I immediately start my cloud instance because the dirty pages have already been sent there. So I transition from on-prem to the cloud in seconds to minutes. giving us a great way of simplifying the process of getting up into the cloud. The next thing that we can talk about is getting into an environment where we have already, let's say, an Azure environment. I'm running on standard disk. I want to go to Apex Block in the cloud, which will be available in the second half. So I install my code in my instance in Azure, and I discover my underlying standard disks. I see that I have Apex Block in the cloud, and I create the ones that I need for the migration, and then I do a no impact migration from standard disk to my Apex Block in the cloud. And that happens while I'm using my data with no impact. Now I get my environment fully synchronized between source and destination, and I do a C motion. And I instantly flip from standard disk over to Apex Block in the cloud, zero downtime, zero application impact. Again, the only thing that I have to do after I finalize cutover to free up my Windows host, and this is a Windows thing, right? Windows won't give up those LUNs until you either reboot or rescan the LUNs. My Linux hosts, I can force detach to get over there. And that's the only time I have downtime. That can be deferred indefinitely. It doesn't matter. It can be at any future reboot. If I've decided that I've changed my mind a little bit before final cutover, I can actually just flip back and do back to standard disk and wait for another cutover at another time. Again, we do all of this with zero application impact, zero downtime. The last cloud migration is really going from Azure to AWS, and this really isn't any different to us than an on-prem to cloud environment. Again, I log into my portal, I point it at my Azure instance, I download my code, and I then instantiate a Cirrus Migrate Cloud session with data reduction and security. I have the same sync, snap, and test capability with cMotion, and I can transition with it just seconds to minutes of downtime from an Azure cloud over to AWS on Apex kind of seamlessly. The last kind of migration I want to talk about is to use Cirrus Migrate Cloud in an on-prem environment. So part of the recalibrate, if you will, I can go into a customer environment and again, point my application at my on-prem data center, but now I can put, I can do my Cirrus Migrate Cloud over to the Apex infrastructure on-prem. I get my flexibility that I get out of Apex and all that it brings to that. It can be any part of the Apex storage environment that you would have. I do a Cirrus Migrate Cloud session, get them transitioned, and with cMotion, I can literally cut over from your existing environment to your new Apex environment without disruption. That said, I'd like to take and show you a quick video of this happening in real time. A very simple, short video that details this environment for Cirrus Migrate Cloud.
Cirrus Migrate Cloud is now integrated with Dell PowerFlex on all platforms. With only 4 simple steps, any Windows or Linux workload can be migrated from any storage to Dell PowerFlex. Cirrus Migrate Cloud is a patented solution created to help customers move data from anywhere to anywhere. Let's jump right into it. Step 1. Go to Cirrus Data Cloud and deploy Cirrus Migrate Cloud on your host. Copy and paste the Windows or Linux installation command in the shell, and cmc will install and register to Cirrus Data Cloud all by itself. Step 2. Set up our purpose-built Dell PowerFlex integration. This will help us perform auto-allocation on the next step, where Cirrus Migrate Cloud will intelligently match up migration volumes and factor in all properties, such as the 8 GB increment requirement. Step 3. Start migration. Create a migration session by selecting migration volumes and perform auto-allocation. Customize your migration parameters, such as selecting your IQ OS settings that intelligently minimizes the impact of migration. And we are now ready to migrate. Let's go! Step 4. Migration cutover. Following our guided cutover process will take you to cMotion, which is a reversible state where cmc will redirect all I/O to the destination volume immediately without requiring any application downtime. Complete the session and reskin storage configuration. The file system is now mounting from the Dell PowerFlex device. Migration is completed. And these are the 4 simple steps for moving our workload to Dell PowerFlex.
So that was a short little video, and to put it in perspective, we had a little demonstration that we were working on for a proof of concept, and literally we stood up a Dell PowerFlex environment in AWS, and once we were complete with that, within 5 minutes we had done our first migration. So that was a very successful iteration for that. To put it in perspective, to give a little bit of room for Dell Apex as to what kinds of things do you do. This is a Gartner paper from June 7th, so it's a relatively current. 26% of people say that one of the biggest frustrations is cost control. So when you go in there and you say, I want to do Dell Apex to get some cost control and skills and training is the next big thing, we want to reduce the time and complexity of these migrations. And the whole point here is we take a lot of the steps out of migration, automate them and simplify them so that you get to this new environment quickly and easily. Take all the workload off the infrastructure and operations task with automation and reduce the complexity of managing in the cloud. To give you a sense of a team project that we're working on, an example of the typical ROI you can see with PowerFlex. Again, if I look at buying hard drives at AWS, the current price is 4.5 cents per gigabyte month, which is $45 a terabyte month. And when I buy a terabyte volume, when I make a snapshot, I now have 2 terabytes. And this can be a big dissatisfier for customers because they don't realize that they're not getting pointer-based snapshots, and their bill becomes unpredictable because somebody left some snapshots open, and all of a sudden their bill, instead of being 45, is 145 because they've got so many snapshots open. If you look at what we can do thin reduction. And typically, if you're looking at block volumes, it's not unusual to be only 40 to 60% full. So you're going to save about 50% with just thin. Then you compress it. In typical compression, you can see 4-to-1 data reduction. You then do a 2-to-1 dedupe. And what you end up with is you end up on a 50 gigabyte base environment. So obviously my 1 terabyte volume still looks like a terabyte to my host, but my consumption's 50 gig. And instead of using hard drives, we're now going to use GP3 SSD. Yes, it costs me more per gigabyte, but I'm going to be only using 50 gigabytes. That's $4 a month instead of 45, plus the cost of the PowerFlex software. And the Dell team can certainly help you out with that. Even if you only saved half, think about saving half of your money. And that's a very conservative. You're going to save a lot more than that with the Dell PowerFlex environment. Here's a ROI of a customer we have that we're working with, 9 petabytes of EBS. They're spending $60 a terabyte month at a cost of a little bit over $500,000. With PowerFlex, they're down to $270 a month, $3.2 million per year save, over 5 years, over $16 million. These are savings that you can bring back to your environment. Obviously, you don't have to have 9 petabytes of storage to make this worthwhile. Dell the Apex environment scales down to meet your environment in the cloud, and it can be done on-prem. So this is about accelerating your future. Cirrus is the only patented block migration for literally any block storage. There is no interoperability matrix. We're integrated with all the leading storage OEMs and public clouds, so there's no interoperability risk. We can migrate live. IQOS gives us the ability of migrating live without disrupting the business. We've automated a huge amount of the tasks so that you can reduce risk and accelerate the pace of your migrations. We have a fully staffed team. Cirrus exists for data migration and data mobility, and our team does this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we can help you augment your staff should that be needed. And we realize the benefits of Dell Apex 4 to 6 times faster than you would another way. My team, I'm the head of sales for the Americas, but I'm backed up by regional sales managers. We have the head of EMEA sales as well as a general manager in APJ. The bottom line is you're going to get a better data migration. It is very efficient with dramatically less pre-migration effort. You can get an immediate ROI by taking out that storage faster. You can get a resilient infrastructure with zero application downtime for clustered apps. It's very flexible. Any host, any application, any storage. It's easy to manage. One tool for all of that. And comprehensive. So with that, I'm gonna stop sharing, and we can take a few questions at the end that Adam and I would be more than happy to do.
We have a lot of questions coming in. So thank you, gentlemen, for that. That was terrific. So just as a reminder to folks, you can put your questions in on LinkedIn. Aaron is helping us gather those all up. You can also do it here in the Q&A button, or you can send us a chat and we'll try to take them. So Adam, we have a lot for you. Everybody is really excited to learn more. So I'm going to jump into some of these with you now. So one of the first ones that asks here is there a TCO calculator for PowerFlex associated with each hyperscaler?
Yeah, Jocelyn, awesome question. And Mark, I think that you showed a great example in your presentation of some real life cost savings that an organization that Cirrus and Dell is working with, that they're realizing. The short answer, Jocelyn, is absolutely. If you're running natively in the public cloud today, and you would like to engage with Cirrus and Dell to understand specific to your environment what the cost savings would be by adopting the technology that we're talking about here today, we can absolutely do that analysis with you, 100%.
That's great. And so this next one, maybe both of you could talk a little bit about. We had a few versions of this question. So people are curious, can they move from any cloud to Apex, or is it just AWS and Azure? And when they're moving, does it have to be onto AWS or Azure? If we could just talk about that a little bit, it would be great.
Yeah, you bet. Hey, Mark, do you maybe want to go first in terms of just being able to get from point A to point B? What does that look like from a Cirrus perspective?
So it's any cloud capability, right? You can be hosting your Apex environment anywhere that Apex is planning on going. And I know that DTW, it was announced that Apex will be available in Azure. So when that becomes available in Azure, we're certainly going to do that. We've already integrated ourselves in GCP, in Azure and AWS, so we can get you there. And when Apex becomes available in those environments, we certainly can get you to Apex in those environments. We could also go to an Equinix data center and be hosted in Equinix on a Dell Apex environment in Equinix for you and migrate you there.
So Mark, if I sum that up, whether your data as an organization is living in a co-location, whether it's living on-prem anywhere, or whether it's in any of the big public clouds, Cirrus has the capability to get that data from where it is over into these Apex solutions that we're talking about. Is that fair?
That's a very good summation.
Terrific. Awesome. Okay, so the next one, Mark, is Cirrus Migrate Cloud self-serve? How much will Cirrus work with me if I need assistance?
That's a great question. We can certainly do a teach to fish. We can also do product only and do support calls and take it from there. It's a fairly straightforward piece of software. I know we've used our CMC code with some state colleges that literally discovered it with an hour-and-a-half session with our team and was able to move data on their own. Pretty straightforward. But yes, we can. we can license hours, we can do a little bit of training to get you capable and off and running. We have our code in the marketplace for AWS as well as Microsoft Azure. So we're not in Google's marketplace as of yet, but we're working on that as well. And right now, you certainly can buy it from us and use it for your purposes.
Great. And Adam, how do they select the storage platform that they will use in Apex? So AWS or Azure?
Yeah, great question. So if you're consuming Apex in the public cloud, in Azure or in AWS, keep in mind that there is no hardware. This is fully a software deployment from Dell Technologies. We're deploying our Dell storage software into the public cloud of your choice. And in that case, Mark alluded to it a number of times in his presentation. That software is our PowerFlex software stack. That is what is being deployed in the public cloud. Now, if you are referencing delivering an on-prem cloud operating model with Apex, we also do that, then absolutely, you've got the ability to pick if you are interested in architecting the specific type of storage array and the specific types of drives and the configuration. If you want to architect it, then you've got that ability with Apex. You also have the ability, if you just want the easy button and you want the cloud operating experience on-prem, to just say, hey, I want to subscribe to Apex block storage as a service in my data center, and Dell will take care of the rest. So this is all about delivering choice and availability and options to our customers, whether you want to architect and engineer it and make your own choices, or whether you just want the easy button. I hope that answers the question.
It sure does. I love an easy button, honestly. We need more of those. But the next question, it kind of goes into this a little bit, and you already answered it, but I'll just ask it to make sure everyone's clear on it. So is Dell PowerFlex storage available as part of Apex?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're delivering Apex in the public cloud, that is a PowerFlex software stack that we're deploying there to give you all of those enterprise class data services that we've talked about. And if you're delivering Apex on-prem in a co-location or in your data center, you've absolutely got the option to pick PowerFlex as the underlying technology stack that you simply consume as a service. Short answer then is yes, absolutely.
Great, thank you. I'm going to take one more for each of you, and then I'm going to let you go. We're way over time, and I appreciate everybody sticking with us. This has been just a fantastic session today. So we'll go to Mark. Can I move data with the least impact from native clouds, such as EBS to Apex? And I think that question means how can they move data with the least amount of impact?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it really comes to, again, some of our patented capabilities. We have this thing called intelligent quality of service, and when we install our software in the cloud for EBS, we look at the I/O patterns for the source information, and we set a tunable parameter, and we set it lightly loaded, medium loaded, whatever. And what that software does is it, as it's migrating data, it compares the activity level on that source volume, and if it's above the the tunable parameter of activity level, we don't migrate that section for that period of migration until such time as it gets less busy. And that goes on, and that's why we can't guarantee, how long it's going to take, because if your application is busy, obviously we want to do current I/O more than we want to do migration I/O. But every LUN has a time where it's not busy, and we simply migrate in that off time. So we can migrate seamlessly from source volumes over to PowerFlex and Apex in the cloud with zero downtime, zero application impact. The only caveat is at some future time, in order to get off the existing EBS volumes for Windows hosts, we have to have a reboot or a rescan.
Great, thank you. And Adam, in 1 minute, could you tell us about the roadmap for other clouds, such as GCP or Oracle, with Apex supporting those?
Yeah, absolutely. So today, broad availability across AWS for the different solutions, block and file and data protection. We've got availability in AWS for Apex File today, and for our backup solutions, AWS, Azure, GCP is live today. The roadmap is to continue expanding that availability. So I think you'll see a lot of effort in the short term. Obviously, AWS and Azure are broadly available and will continue to be so. We'll continue putting more offers into those two marketplaces. And then GCP would be probably the third sort of fast follow-on for the block and the file services as well.
Great. Thank you so much, Adam, for joining us today. It was a real pleasure. And thank you, everybody who took the time to join us and learn more about Apex and Cirrus Data. We're very excited to be introducing this as a solution to the marketplace and working with Dell Technologies, of course. If you have questions, please reach out. This will be available on our website probably within the next 24 hours. I'm looking at Aaron. He's our master here. So again, if you have any questions, if we didn't get to your question today, we will reach out to you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jocelyn.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Jocelyn.